Have you ever wondered why I'm doing this intro differently? Welcome to the special Pride episode. I am a non-binary queer person who is in a relationship with a non-binary queer person, and my partner is on the show today. So if you don't want to hear us discuss some of the more romantic aspects of our lives, I suggest that you may want to skip this episode. But if you want to learn a little bit more about some queer and LGBTQ culture, please feel free to join us as we do discuss 9 unique facts that you may or may not have known about the Pride movement. I also just really quickly want to throw a quick shout out to the 3 listens that my podcast has in Norway, the 1 listen my podcast has in Spain, and the 2 listens my podcast has in the UK. So with only 3 episodes as of this podcast being released, we have an international following. So thank you very much if you're still listening out there in Norway, Spain, or the UK. Please send us an email at funfactswith@gmail.com or interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even follow us on Patreon if you so choose, and let us know what you think about the podcast, what we can improve on, different things like that. And that goes for everyone else who listens as well. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the show. I'm Connor J. Cassidy, and this is Fun Facts with
Benjamin Smith.
All right, let me know whenever you're ready. And I guess these ones we'll just do in order because there's no real subjects?
I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, so I assume you've heard at least episode 1, if not parts of episode 2. If not, that's okay. I don't expect everyone, including my partner, to enjoy my art. And that's fine. You just have to deal with me. Anyways, so unlike the other episodes, due to the fact that this is such a hodgepodge of random facts about Pride and the LGBTQIA plus movement, there isn't really anything I could give for hints, so I have changed that up a bit, and I may actually be moving to a different formula anyways, because the largest complaint that I have gotten so far from my hosts has been that the hints make 0 sense. So, so we're going to a lifeline system instead. So you have the option to phone a friend, so you could go ask your dad or whoever's in the house if you like. 50-50. Then there's something, it's called a double dip. Basically, you're allowed to choose 2 of the answers, and if one of those is correct, then you get the answer right. And then there's a super secret mystery bonus lifeline.
Interesting.
Yep. So those are the 4 lifelines that you'll have. And then I'll just we have the 3 categories, but none of the categories really have a theme. They're just kind of what they are. So I'll start.
They're all very themed.
They're all Pride themed. All right. So I'll start with category number 1. So I'll read the 3 facts first, and then we can talk about it. You get 1 official guess per category here. So,
Okay.
Fact number 1: every color of the rainbow flag means something. Fact number 2: Pride Month has only been acknowledged by 3 U.S. presidents. And fact number 3: the largest Pride parade in the world is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And you're trying to find the lie.
The lie. Okay. Well, I know for a fact that all the colors on the pride flag have a meaning. Don't ask me what that meaning is, because I don't know. Oh, goodness. I mean, it would make sense that, you said Sao Paulo?
Yeah.
It would make sense that they have a large pride parade. And let me think of the 3 presidents who would have recognized Pride Month. That would have been the most recent 3, which would have been the one that we do not say his name, and Obama and Bush. But I don't know if is Pride Month even, like, during Bush era? Was that even, like, around that long?
Pride has been around since the 70s. Like, the actual...
like, as a recognized...
Yeah. Yeah, as a recognized month and called Pride since the 70s.
But, like, recognized by the president?
Well,
Maybe, I mean, I guess it's been around since the 70s. Maybe other presidents, besides the most recent 3, have. Ooh. I hate to use a lifeline on the first question.
well, I mean, you can. That's what they're there for.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna use my double dip lifeline since I'm between the 2.
Okay.
I know the third one is, like, for sure that is a truth. So I'm gonna guess both of them. The Sao Paulo and the presidents as the lie, using my double dip.
Those are the correct 2. It is Pride Month it has only been acknowledged by 3 presidents. That is a lie. It's actually only been acknowledged by 2 presidents. But,
I should have listened to my gut.
Yep. Bill Clinton and Obama are the only 2 to have ever officially acknowledged it. The current White House occupant did tweet about it, but as it wasn't official and nobody would listen to him anyway because he's a fascist pig, it doesn't count. The largest pride parade in the world, according to Guinness, is actually in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it was named the largest pride parade in the world in 2006 when a record 2.5 million attendees.
That's a lot.
It's also one of the youngest pride parades in the world, having only started in 97.
Hmm.
And then every color of the rainbow flag does mean something. Oh, right. So the original rainbow flag actually had 8 stripes, not 6. There was hot pink, which represented sexuality, red, which represents life, orange, which represents healing, yellow, sunlight, green, nature, turquoise, magic, indigo, serenity and harmony, and violet, spirit. The 2 colors that were dropped were the turquoise and the hot pink, and to the 6-striped popular rainbow flag we have today.
And then we got 2 more colors, black and brown.
Yeah, and then we added more colors and changed it, and I personally like the one that was been going around Facebook lately, where they put the fist in the middle with the trans flag surrounding it instead. I think it looks just less clunky and less busy than the random triangle coming off, jutting into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was already a busy flag to begin with. I mean, it makes me want to take a nap whenever I see it. Hannah Gatsby had it right on the money right there. And what are you drinking today?
What am I drinking? I am drinking a Negroni. It's got a shot of gin and three-quarters of a shot of Campari and three-quarters of a shot of vermouth in it. And ice.
I am drinking, tropical sour is what I'm calling it. But it's Malibu rum, and it's like a full shot of Malibu rum, and then a half a shot of whiskey, and a half a shot of any spiced rum, and then sour mix. But in my case, I just used a whole bunch of lime juice and some honey, because I wanted that instead of sour mix. It tastes better anyways.
Yeah, sour mix is weird.
It's really only good for a few things. All right.
That makes sense. Why use sour mix when you can use actual citrus?
Yeah. All right.
That's my question.
So you've used the double dip. So let me...
I know. I should have. I should have just gone with my gut. Oh, well.
All right. So the next three, and these are in no particular order of hardness either. I just kind of threw them together.
Okay. That makes me feel good about using my lifeline.
Yeah.
On the very first one.
So the next three facts I have for you are 3 trans women, at least 2 of whom were trans women of color, are responsible for Pride. Number 2 is the first historic use of the term drag queen was in 1880. And number 3 is in 1973, Lambda Legal became the second legal organization established to fight for the equal rights of gays and lesbians.
Which year did you say that was?
1973.
That would be during the AIDS epidemic, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I'm too young
During the
for
beginning.
If any of our older audience listens to this, they'll be groaning and rolling their eyes. I'm thinking of for the activists who started or who are credited for starting Pride. I'm thinking of Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera. I cannot think of a third right now. But also, there's so many people that are involved with Pride. Also, like, Stonewall wasn't even the very first queer-related riot. So I feel like all of that is kind of up for debate on, like, who started it, where it started. But definitely...
I forgot I was working with an ANSO major today.
Definitely, like, some of the most important leaders of that movement were Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson. So, I wish there was a third that I could think of. What was the second clue that you gave me? I'm not remembering it.
The first historic use of the term drag queen was in 1880.
I wasn't alive in 1880, so I believe it.
Neither of us were alive in 1880. For context to my listeners, I am 27 and they are 24? 25. 24. You're a year younger than my sister. No,
yeah,
you're 23.
I'll be 24 in a few weeks.
You're almost 24. See? I knew I was correct. I'm sorry, baby. I don't mean to misremember your age. That's fine. I'm bad at remembering my own age.
Yeah, that's true. My dad said I was 24 the other day. I was like, no, I'm not 24 yet. But maybe he said I was 22. He said something that was not my current age, and I was like, okay. Anyway, yeah. I think I'm going to go with the first question as the lie, that the fact that there were 3.
Are you sure?
My answer to that is that I can only think of 2, but I could very easily be forgetting 1. I forget that people exist, like, in my own life all the time. So,
I mean, you do have lifelines still.
How many lifelines do I have?
3.
3?
Mm-hmm.
How many sets of questions are you asking me?
3. And you have 4 lifelines?
I could use a lifeline each time.
Yeah, I mean, I want my friends to win. That's the goal.
Okay, sure. I'll do 50-50 lifeline.
All right. So there were 3 trans women, at least 2 of whom were black. Marsha P. Johnson. So the list I have of the 3 trans women who actually first began throwing bricks at the cops at Stonewall were Marsha P. Johnson, Zazu Nova, and Jackie Hormona are the 3 that were listed. I can't remember the exact source that Wikipedia sourced, but it was sourced out of a book that someone had written about the Stonewall riots, so its exact accuracy is probably debated.
Gotcha. So it was like the people who like were actually in the riots, not necessarily the people who were...
Correct.
Who were like organizing the marches and all that.
Correct.
And the community efforts.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Sylvia Rivera wasn't even on your list.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's between the other 2.
I'm gonna go with the 1880 as the lie then.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, that is incorrect.
No.
William Dorsey Swan, a black man and newly freed slave in 1880, coined himself a queen of drag. After being arrested for holding a drag ball, Swan had demanded pardon from President Grover Cleveland, which is also the first recorded legal steps taken by an American to defend queer communities' rights to gather without criminalization. So, he's actually a really important figure in, like, the very, very, very early starts of the queer movement. William Dorsey Swan. And almost no one knows about him.
Interesting.
Yep. And in 1973, Lambda Legal became the first legal organization established to fight for the equal rights of gays and lesbians, not the second. And in fact, their first client was also them. After being denied nonprofit status, the New York Supreme Court eventually ruled that they did have the legal right to exist as a nonprofit.
Interesting. Oh, so you said they were the second one that was in the...
Yep.
That was the question? Oh, wow, I should have just listened better. Because my brain said it was the first. Wow.
You can't ask me to repeat anything.
We learned that my listening skills when I'm tired and tipsy are not very good.
That's okay. All right. And then let's move on to the last set here. All right. So you've used 2 of the lifelines. Strike through that.
Sadly, I'm probably going to use a third one just because I'm interested in what the super secret lifeline is.
All right. Okay,
are you? Find out?
Yeah, you'll find out when you ask for it. Are you ready for these last 3 facts here for you?
Yes.
All right. So number 1. In 1974, Elaine Noble became the first openly LGBTQ American elected to any public office. Fact number 2. December 3rd, 1996, Hawaii became the first state to recognize that queer couples have the same rights as heterosexual couples. And in Germany, this is fact number 3, in 1919, a German film named Different from the Others is the oldest film to deal with homosexuality in a positive light.
Why are there so many dates? I suck at dates. Can you tell me what the first one was again? I cannot remember.
Elaine Noble, in 1974, became the first openly LGBTQ American elected to any public office.
You said 1974?
Correct.
And then... what was the second one? You don't have to read, like, the whole thing, just a refresher.
1996, Hawaii was the first state to recognize queer rights.
Gotcha. Yeah, literally any of these could be the lie, and I would have no way of knowing. So I'm going to use my third lifeline. I'm going to do the super secret lifeline because I'm interested and intrigued by that one.
Okay, so the super secret mystery bonus lifeline for this round was consult the expert, which the expert is me because I don't have any experts to consult, and I did the research on these facts. And the expert says, pick number 1 as the lie.
Pick number 1?
Yep.
But what if the expert is trying to use... what if they're trying to trick me?
I have integrity. Why would I try to trick you?
So you're just giving me the answer?
Yeah.
I'm thinking way too hard about this. I guess I'll go with number 1. Actually, well, that would make sense because 1974 was, if my memory of history before I was born serves me correctly, that was during the AIDS epidemic. I have no idea. This is so sad. Wow. Yeah. My guess is that nobody would elect an openly queer person. So, yeah. I guess I'm choosing number 1.
Number 1 is the lie, but not for the reason that you think. In 1974, just a few months before Elaine Noble was elected, Kathy Kushchenko became the first openly LGBTQ American elected to any public office, when she won a seat on the Ann Arbor, Michigan Council. However, Elaine Noble did become the first openly gay candidate elected to any state office when she was elected to the Massachusetts State Legislature.
Gotcha.
Legislature.
So we're very local here. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then in 96, Hawaii became the first state to recognize queer couples have the same rights as heteros. Hawaii's judge... Huh?
That was the year I was born.
Yeah. Hawaii's judge ruled that the state did not have the legal right to deprive... his name was Chang. It didn't give me his first name, unfortunately. Was... I'm just going to start over again on that. Hawaii's Judge Chang rules that the state does not have legal right to deprive deprive... Oh, I can't read today. Why can't I read today? This is what editing is for! Though I'll probably leave all this in so someone can laugh at me.
Yeah, just leave it in.
Hawaii's Judge Chang rules the state does not have the legal right to deprive same-sex couples of the right to marry, making Hawaii the first state to recognize that gay and lesbian couples were entitled to the same privileges as heterosexual couples. The German film, different from the others... Oh, sorry, what?
Oh, I was just saying, I'm not surprised that it was Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hey, my cat is tearing up a bag right now. I need to stop her.
Okay.
No, don't do that. Okay, we're good.
The German film, named Different from the Others, is the oldest film to deal with homosexuality in a positive light, going so far as to frame the ill treatment of homosexuals and the laws against them as being the problem, rather than the homosexuals themselves. It was actually so against the particular law in Germany at the time, which was known as Paragraph 175, that criminalized homosexuality, that the last shot of the film is actually a hand scribbling out the controversial law. It was released in June of 1919 and was pretty quickly removed from theaters thereafter because Nazis. And yeah. Yep.
Well, Nazis were until the 40s. Or 30s.
The Nazis gained
30s, 40s,
power in the 30s and 40s, but they started to exist in, like, the 1880s and before. The actual organization existed long before they gained power. Just like the Republicans.
That makes me very sad for our potential future.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great note to end this episode on.
Well, you know, not everything ends in a positive light sometimes. But what is really interesting is actually the film is available for viewing on several different websites around the internet, and I'm actually going to include those in the show notes, so that way anyone who wants to can go watch Different from the Others. Any of the films or any of the versions I've seen did not have subtitles, so it is just the 1919 German film. It doesn't, you know, if you don't speak German, you're not going to have that great of a time watching it, but it's probably still worth watching.
Maybe I'll get my friend Madeline to transcribe it for me.
Didn't you take German?
Yeah, like 2 trimesters of it.
True. I don't know. I can count to 10 in Spanish from when I was 8, and that's about it. Unfortunately.
My problem was I had, like, language ADD. I went from French to Italian to German. I learned a whole bunch of the basic stuff in all of the languages, but never really went that deep into them.
Yeah. Enough to be able to navigate if you happen to find yourself dropped immediately into the country with nowhere else to go. But not enough to actually converse.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, I could definitely do that. I could survive.
All right.
I probably couldn't flourish, at least not at first. Anyway, thanks for that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of sad how much I don't know about Pride.
I mean, To be honest, that's part of the reason that I wanted to do a special bonus Pride episode. I wanted to do it for, A, to force me to sit down and actually read about the history of our people, and B, because I knew I didn't know very much. And hopefully people who listen to this take the time to actually go research some things. Actually, the fact about the film, different from the others, was provided by the group that I'm a part of on Facebook, called Gay Culture and Sensibility. And some of the members in there posted about it, and I read an entire thing, and I was like, that has to be in there. That's definitely a thing I'm looking at. As well as, I believe, the fact about William Dorsey Swan. I believe that was in the group as well. So a lot of, or a couple of the facts definitely came from them, and so I'm thankful to them for providing them, as well as providing me, reading about our history and our past. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And also, like, all of the historical facts are from pretty recent times too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. It's not taking into account all of the rich history throughout.
Yeah.
Pretty much the entire history of humanity.
Yeah, I mean, the oldest known tale of involving actual homosexuality that is widespread and recorded, and by widespread I mean if you ask anyone what a cut sleeve is, they'll almost always be able to tell you about the history of it. Is one of the first emperors of China had a male partner that he was in love with, and they were sleeping together, and some urgent matter came up, and the partner was sleeping on the emperor's sleeve, so he cut off his sleeve to be able to go deal with the matter rather than waking up his partner. And that's a very well-known fact around the world, and it's considered one of the oldest stories involving homosexuality, whether or not it was entirely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, I'm just thinking, like, in some cultures that, like, people of not, at least by today's standards, people who are not considered, like, typical in terms of their sexuality or gender, like, it was just an everyday part of life.
Yeah, like the Two-Spirit people of the Native Americans. And not all Native American tribes, but most Native American tribes, from what I've heard, have some form of Two-Spirit, third-gendered person.
Yeah, a lot of them were spiritual people.
Yep.
Which is, I think, really super cool. Especially considering how, like, in modern Christianity now, like, it's the opposite, where, like, we feel like we're being pushed away from religion because so many people in that religion don't want us to be who we are. Anyway.
Well, a lot of that is people in general have always been afraid of differences, but particularly white people are afraid of differences, and when we grab a hold of something that gives us permission to hate, then we're going to hold on to that for as long as possible and hate as many people with it as we can. And unfortunately, that thing is a lot of religion. Particularly Abrahamic religions. So yeah.
Well, also, like, at least in the United States, that's the religion that pretty much has all of the power.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, to different extents, too, because there's so many different sects of Christianity that, like, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent right now. Just ignore me.
You're perfectly fine. Tangents are welcome.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're figuring it out as you go.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you for doing all of this and just going for it, because it sounds like a fun project. And thanks for letting me be on here.
Well, thank you for coming on, my wonderful heart. I love you, and of course you would be on the podcast at some point. I thought that the Pride episode would be a great opportunity to have my partner on, and the person who I hope I get to spend the rest of my life with, which sounds insane that we've only been dating for almost 2 years. Lord, I need to be patient. It's fine.
Now everybody's going to hear you being sappy.
That's fine. Actually, only Patreon's going to hear me being sappy, because the rest of everyone's going to hear me going, "Thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I love you." And then I'm going to edit it. So the no one on Patreon... Actually, everybody might end up hearing me being sappy, because I do love you a lot, and I like shouting it from the rooftops as much as I can. My friends are getting tired of hearing me talk about you, actually. And by my friends, I do mean the 2 people I text other than you.
I feel similarly. I have my one friend, Maya, who I see in person whenever we're feeling well. Because today I bailed on her, but so I was not feeling well. But yes, yeah, I get that. Also, 2 years is not a long time to be together, but
no, it's not.
It's great that we're approaching. Well, more like 1.5 years right now. But.
Yeah, it's 2 years in September. We've got a ways to go still.
Okay, well, I doubt everybody wants to hear us talking about a relationship, so...
I mean, that's part of the reason I have you on for the Pride episode, so that people can hear us talking about our relationship, unless you're getting tired. That's fine, baby. I love you.
I love you, too.
I'll let you go.
Okay.
Have a good night, and relax well, and of course I'll text you before you go to sleep. You know that.
Oh, of course.
Bye, beautiful.
Bye. Have a fun time editing.
This show is recorded, produced, directed, and edited by Connor J. Cassidy, with music by Sounds Like Sanders. Our podcast is hosted on podserve.fm. and our music was found via soundstripe.com. Please follow us on all social media at Fun Facts With, and if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, have a nice day.